Hey guys, Coach Dan here. Going to go over a little bit of details on how you get your youth to start to slip their head left or right. So some of the biggest things that we want to look at when the youth are coming is we don't want them to run into big, wide hooks. So even when they're little guys, they're still going to throw some of their techniques pretty wide and whatnot. So we want to make sure that the hand always stays up nice and high. So a nice high guard with Connor works really well. And then he wants to keep this hand slightly out. When he's going to go to do a slip, so he's just going to slip to one side, he's just going to tuck down and he's going to slide back to the opposite side. All that's doing is giving a little bit of head movement to allow his head to come off the center line. The more times that head comes off the center line, the better. So when a technique is coming right down the center, Connor can just fire off and get to the outside of it. Okay? This will give him maximum coverage as far as not being able to be hit, or at the very least when he's going through, it's going to slip past and graze his head, which gives him, again, a good ability to be able to counter, be able to recover from it, and do everything else. What you don't want to see is when they're going to go do that, that when you throw, if their hands are low and the person throws a big wide hook, they're still going to clip them. So you don't want that. You want to make sure that hand stays up so that even if that hook comes and he wants to try to tuck under it and he doesn't quite get there, he's got optimal defense. Okay? So these are the things that I always find. I find that when you're throwing punches down at the little guys, they have a tendency to just turtle right up or open right up. And once they open right up, it's just I throw a couple punches like this, and his hands will come right in nice and tight, and I'll just come all the way around. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that he can maintain a certain level of control. So when I throw the jab out even, if he wants to, he can slip that way of the jab, and he's instantly out of the way. If I slip the opposite way of the jab, he has to throw right away. So when I'm here, I go, he's going to go that side. One, he can counter me any way he wants. Then when we go and he goes to the opposite side, he has to be firing right away. That hand is going to come out. This hand here will come out right away, straight into the face, and then straight back. So what that does is it gives him, again, maximum coverage. If he tries to jab me at the exact same time, it's a lot harder because I still have a big opening. Okay? So firing that right hand right down at me, as he's slipping, he comes to the inside and he's capable of getting it in. Okay? And at the very least, if we ran into each other, we ran into this. Bang. We both hit gloves. As he's coming out, we're hitting gloves. Punch the glove, punch the glove, punch the glove. There you go. So when that hand comes out, instant punch off to the glove. So is he aiming for the glove? No, he's aiming for your head. And if not, even he keeps the blade part of his arm towards me, he's got defense. Okay? What we look for here is when we do a slip, we want to make sure that he's in control of it. So the big thing is to watch the legs. You want to bend your legs a little bit. Even for the slipping, the legs. Use the legs. It's way too difficult to tilt your head, and it's not going to move enough. Your head still can only sit to the side. Okay? So when Connor goes to move, I'm going to throw him the right hand, and when he slips, he wants to bend the leg. And then that also allows him then to have the ability to come back because he's got pressure under it. He can snap back. I can go to the opposite side. He can do the same. And again, don't lean. You see how he leaned back and away from me too much? So you got to watch this. This is how you correct the little guys. So if I'm doing that again and Connor leans back and away, see, he's at a distance now where it's going to be really hard for him to recover. So all he wants to do is just slip a little bit. Don't want to fade back too much. There's times to do that, but in this case, it's just a left or a right. So you're going to go one side and then to the opposite side. And that allows him then to stay in optimal range to be able to touch. So when I throw the hand, one, he can touch me, hand over, touch, right? I come back, I throw the opposite one, hand over, touch. So both hands can touch me. That gives him the range that he's looking for. If he can maintain that, he has offense and defense. So the moment I bring it out, one, over the top, bang. And that bring it out, over the top, bang. He gets 2 shots in, no matter what you're doing. Now, what you want to watch here is how his center line is covered. So if he's offset with his hands and they're offset, he's automatically mitigating that center line. So the moment that I throw that right hand again, he's already there. He can bring it over the top. He could come underneath if he wants, into an uppercut position, into the body, or into the chin. So now he's going to throw it into the chin. I go down, up, boom. Again, heights indifferences. Your youths are going to come in all sizes and shapes. So if he's at the exact same height, it's going to be pretty simple. So when this hand comes out to hit me, I can easily just slip, and then that hand will come right up underneath. Okay, so when I set him up, I throw that right. He can come underneath, bang, hit the ribs, come up under the chin. Okay, he gets 2 options. So then we're going to turn the combo over. I go one, he comes under, here, and then comes over the top. Bang. So So you got 3 options there, instant options that are pretty easy to get to. Don't make the combinations too complicated for the little guys, because they're not going to remember it. Once they get a little bit of pressure and once they get hit a couple times, then they're all going to be not thinking correctly. They're not going to probably be breathing correctly. So you keep it fairly simple. And then you also got to remember that they're going to have legs. So in this case, we're using those legs. So we're just going to do that little swing. Just swing through, go. Swing, swing, back out. Every time when he's doing that, so a couple more. 1, 2, bring it back. So you're using the legs. Don't think about using your head. The head is automatically going to go. And then when it's exaggerated, when a shot's coming to you, well, you can lean a little bit. But guess what happens? When he leans, he's right there, don't move. He's right there, bang. He gets kicked. So if he's going to lean like that, he's in big trouble. He needs to just buckle down into his knee and base it out and get that hand high. If something's coming, he has the capability of defending without even thinking of defending it. Okay? If not, he will drop down too low and the head will become fully exposed. We don't want that. So you watch your youth and moving around with them when they're doing this. When I throw this, he slips. He keeps that nice and covered. He's capable of punching me. When I bring this one out, he slips. He's capable of countering. If he's not capable of countering, there will be 2 major reasons. One, he will have leaned back in a way where he's literally going to fall away from you. Okay? The other reason is he's leaned over too much, which means he's leaning and bending way at the hip. Don't bend too much. You can bend a little at the hip and the waist, but if you bend too much, you'll have a really hard time bringing it back. So it's just a slight movement side to side. Okay, so when I throw the right hand out, slight movement, I bring it back, slow the left one, bring it back. Wherever I go, he can manage to get to the position that he needs simply by using his legs. So watch the little guys when they're doing it. So if you see them, and Connor doesn't move his legs and he just starts to tilt his body, he just tilts his body and he goes the opposite way. You can even see how that looks awkward on them. But you will see that from many of the youth when you're doing it. You're just going to throw a shot and they do that, and they're going to throw a shot and they do that. The thing is that they're not getting out of the way. They're actually straight up and down. So they need to be able to move and move so that their head is moving left or right. So he bends the knee, off to the side, back in, bend the knee, get the head off. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, when you're working with youth, don't just punch them square in the face. Give them a little bit so you can see approximately where their glove is on the side of their head. Aim directly at their glove in the beginning. That gives them enough time that they can slip a little bit, and it allows them to keep that hand up. So I'm aiming at the glove. So he just wants to move that glove just enough that I come beside the glove. So he's going to move that one just enough that I'm coming beside the glove. I'm not aiming for his face yet. I can if he's more advanced, because you don't want to make them gun shy by hitting them in the face. Then they don't know what they're doing. They're going to panic, and they're just going to, every time you bring that hand up, they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to move. Okay, so, and then mix it up. Start mixing it up. See? Start getting the reaction. So see what you can get. Change it up a little bit. Change the tempo up. Pick the pace up. Move, right? Get him moving. Get him moving. You see how he brought his elbow in there? That was perfect. So because I moved a little quicker, he thought the shot would maybe be even a bit harder. So he fires this elbow in a little bit, boom, to be able to accept that power. Okay? So when you're working these things, you want to look at the whole picture, especially on the youth, because if their hips aren't going and turning correctly and they're bending at the waist, they're going to lose all kinds of power. They're not going to have the timing to be able to get out of the way for the second shot. So watch his legs. He bends a little bit, bends the opposite way, and then when I throw the technique, easy, easy. And he's still in a good upright position. Okay? So take your time with your youth. There's no hurry. They're growing up in this. So give them everything that they need and more. Okay? Follow us, subscribe, like,